great Scotch. No, we're not returning to that. So tonight we're going to be reviewing some Ardbeg 10, which is a fantastic Scotch. Very good for these winter months when you need something nice and fiery in your belly. It is the ultimate Islay single malt Scotch whisky. It's a bold claim. I've tasted some rather good Islay Scotch whiskies in my time. Lafroig 16 being one of them, fantastic. Of course, Lafroig, fantastic. We'll see how this compares to them. I'll rack my memory for how those other two tasted. The answer, of course, being like dirt and salt. So, this is bottled at 46% ABV, so not quite cask strength, but stronger than most whiskies that you just find out there on the shelf, which are around 40%. And sometimes you'll see them maybe at 43 or 45, but very rarely past 45. But yes, this is 8% over. So expect a very heavy hitting nose on this one. Let's just have a look what it says in this bottle here. It says Shorty. There's a little picture of a dog there. Can I get that on camera? Yeah, Shorty. The peatiest nose on Islay. Apart from Ardbeg, that is. So we're going to be expecting a lot of smoke and peat on the nose. If you don't know what peat is, it's a sort of... it's plant matter that's been in a bog, effectively. You can cut bricks of it, and they dry out the bricks of it and use it as fuel in the smoking process of the malt for the whiskies. So to dry out the malt, they'll have it on a big rack in a chimney, and underneath that chimney they'll use lots of bricks of peat, and the smoke will go up and dry the malts. So the Ardbeg distillery, I'll just read from the back of this box. The Ardbeg distillery lies on the back of the most southerly part of Islay, on the rugged shores of the Atlantic Ocean. So I'd expect there to be some form of salt, like a sea spray, almost like a Talisker. Islay is an antique land where Celtic monks found refuge from raiding Norsemen, and early distillers smuggled their illicit aquavitae in Ardbeg's Cove. So aquavitae, obviously Latin for the water of life, which is what where the name whiskey actually comes from. It comes from the old Gaelic Uskabea, which is their sort of version of aquavitae, and Uskabea eventually became whiskey over the course of a lot of people saying it to each other and mishearing it, maybe. How a lot of words sort of come to have their soundings. Like how night actually used to be pronounced knight, and knee actually used to be pronounced knee, or a lot of those words that have K in front of them actually used to be pronounced with the K, but over the years people got lazy and it was a bit of a mouthful to put the K in front of those words. So they just became knee and night, and the K became silent. Fun little fact for you there. So, here the lords of the Isles ruled the clan kings, whose bloodline runs through the MacDougals of Ardbeg, founders of our noble whisky. Islay history is Ardbeg heritage. The island's past lives in our present. Ardbeg is revealed around the world. Oh, revered. That makes more sense. Ardbeg is revered around the world as the peatiest, smokiest, and most complex whisky of all. Bold claims, very bold claims. It does not flaunt the peat. Rather, the peat gives way to the malt. The natural sweetness subtly intrudes for perfect balance. The unusual spirit still, with its purifier, the only one of its kind on Islay, is what contributes to this balance, making Ardbeg truly the ultimate. Wow. Big claims, guys. Most whiskies are chill filtered to a strength of 40% ABV, but Ardbeg 10 years old is non-chill filtered to a strength of 46%, thus retaining its maximum flavour, while giving it more body and depth. Now, I don't know if you've tried many Islay whiskies, but They certainly maintain a very full flavour even if they are at 40%, so this should be fun. While giving more body and depth. On adding water, a little cloudiness may occur. This is perfectly natural and not a matter for concern. So, when adding water, especially to heavily peated single malts and scotches, that can sometimes, if they have oilier components in them, bring those oilier components through a chemical interaction, bring them to the forefront and separate them out. So those heavier, oilier compounds, like the longer chain hydrocarbons, will sort of float around and make it a bit cloudier and be separated. But like it says, that's perfectly normal with this sort of whiskey. So here we go. Ardbeg, the untamed spirit of Islay. Good cork, very good cork. On cork review, that would get a 10 out of 10. We'll pour a small bit. Now you can see it's very light in colour. So you can tell that although it's going to be very strongly flavoured, it hasn't been aged for an incredibly long amount of time. It hasn't taken on a lot of the colour of the oak barrels that it was matured in. I believe this was matured in oak barrels. You'd assume it was. Also, one interesting thing to note about the age statements on whiskey. The age statement is usually the minimum age of the malts that they allow in, because even single malt whiskies, that means that they'll all be one particular batch of malt, but they can be from different barrels, so they might mix and match. There could be, I mean, it's unlikely, but there could be an 18-year barrel in this. It's just the minimum age statement is 10. So there's another small tidbit for you. Right, let's have a taste. Well, we'll go for the nose first. You cannot get past that nose. Wow. So they're not lying when they say that it does have one of the peatiest noses. It's somewhere between the quality of iodine, like medical iodine, slight hints of antifreeze and diesel. No. Although actually there are some strong chemical properties to it. That is mainly to do with the hydrocarbons from the peat, and probably also the strength, just the alcohol evaporating up. Although actually, I'm actually getting some almost floral notes through, maybe heather. It's very Scottish. Like, this is the nose of the Highlands. This is, oh, you can imagine, this is perfect around a campfire. Maybe in the Scottish Highlands, you've bedded down for the night. You've got your bottle of Ardbeg. You've poured everyone a dram, and you just sat around the campfire. Maybe someone's playing some folk music in the background on a guitar, and you're just gazing up at the stars. Oh, fantastic. Right, let's have a taste. Oh, that'll put chest on your chest. Wow. So immediately, it just opens up onto the palate like this flood of just smoke. It's as if your campfire's just been put out and you go up to the burning embers and just suck in a big breath of smoke. A lot of carbon in there. But then, as the taste goes on, now this is interesting, as the taste goes on, you get more oxygen onto it, onto the palate, you get this florally character, not floral, more herbal, almost like an incredibly souped up version of Jägermeister. I'm sure a lot of you out there will have tried herbal liqueurs such as Jägermeister, but very, souped up to the max, those flavours. Also opening up onto a tiny bit of sweetness. I do see what they're trying to get at with the sweet aspects there. It's almost. Now, this is an odd comparison, and I'm going to have to go back and taste it again just to double check, but it's almost a serially sort of character. So you can imagine, to try to make you understand what that sweetness tastes like, it's as if you're pouring Baileys on some Weetabix, and you're having, instead of milk on your Weetabix, you're eating them with Baileys. But that Baileys has then been spiked with some more whiskey, like more alcohol. It's a very odd quality, and never a way that I thought I'd describe it, but that's what I'm getting. Wow, it's so complex the way that it evolves in the mouth as you're drinking, and the mouthfeel, surprisingly for something this that smells like it'll be this heavy, smells this intimidating, is actually quite light. It's not too bad at all. It doesn't linger too much, as some scotches do, but it does leave you wanting more. And like I say, there's a very particular setting for this sort of scotch, and that's whether it be at home, as most of us are at the moment, with a good book, with a fire going. Even if you don't have a fire, maybe bringing up a picture of a fire and some smooth jazz music on your laptop, and then just having a sip of this, sitting back in an armchair. Yeah, fantastic. Brilliant sipping whiskey. Would I say that it lives up to the claim that it is the ultimate Islay whiskey? Well, it's been a while since I've tried Laphroaig 16, but I'd still have to say that outranks it for me. It's just got a slightly more... It feels more grown up, almost. And I don't know if that's just a psychological thing, because it's 16 years. It's legal. As opposed to... God, that was a terrible joke. As opposed to 10. But it just does it for me more than this Ardbeg. That being said, absolutely fantastic single malt for the price. I think it's about £47 a bottle. I'd hazard a guess. Funnily enough, I got this as a present. Turns out, as soon as you mention that you like whiskey to any of your friends or family, that's all you'll ever get as birthday and Christmas presents. But am I complaining? No, it's fantastic. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.